Okay, so let's continue from chapter 6 of Science of Self-Realization. And we are at this point where Kotowski is asking some questions, and Prabhupada is answering that we anyway surrender to many people. We surrender to monarch, we surrender to government, we surrender to society, we surrender to our company, we surrender to the police, to the law of the state, we pay taxes. So anyway, we are submitting to someone or the other, and everyone is submitting. We are submitting to our parents, children, wife, husband, brother, sister, and we are submitting to our senses also. Whatever sense, if it pulls to do a certain thing, we go after it. We are submitting to our mind. Our mind dictates us, and we follow that. So we are already submitting, so why not just surrender to the Supreme Lord? This is what Prabhupada is saying. We are anyway surrendering. So let's add one more, Supreme Lord. Now this one, Krishna, will destroy every other thing, and it will remove every other thing, and he'll become alone, ekam, in our surrender. That is the power of Krishna. Why? Because he is Rishikesh. Rishikesh means he controls all the senses of everyone, animals, human beings, everyone. Um, hmm. So he controls everyone. So, so if we surrender to Krishna, then uh, then he's the supreme personality of Godhead, and he will take care of us. So he uses this verse. He says, "Sarva dharmam parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja." I'll take care of you. Aham tam sarva papebhyo mokshishyami masucha. Do not worry. Okay, so now let's continue reading from here. I need one volunteer to read Professor Kotowski's statements and then Srila Prabhupada's statements. Please volunteer. Who will read Professor Kotowski? Someone?
Prabhu, I'll read Prabhu.
Okay. Sure. Start reading.
From where, Prabhu?
But at the same time, it seems to me that surrender is to be accompanied by revolt.
Yeah. But at the same time, it seems to me that surrender is accompanied by revolt. The history of mankind has proved that mankind has developed only by
Oh, sorry.
revolt against some kind of surrender. In the medieval age, there was the French Revolution. It was revolt against surrender. But this revolution itself was surrender to the rank and file of and
Yeah, just yeah.
rank and file of the people. You agreed?
Anyone would like to read what Srila Prabhupada is saying?
Yes, I'll
Okay.
read.
Yeah.
Yes,
So it is not enough to come to full stop. Surrender is to be accompanied with revolt against some and surrender to other people.
but the surrender will be fully stopped when it is surrendered to Krishna.
Uh-huh.
Okay, just wait. So what is Prabhupada trying to say here? See, Professor Kotowski is saying that in the history has proved that whenever man has tried to surrender, there is some revolt. Even animals, when they try to surrender, there is some revolt. They revolt.
Mm.
Like if they want to tame an elephant, they tie him and they don't give him food, and he is like crying, and then he surrenders. Similarly for a horse, you must have seen like horse, they make him run. Just putting that saddle on the horse itself is a big task. But so the horse is revolting. Revolting means going against surrender. Even a dog is also like that. He also revolts to tame, right? Then some trainer has to be bought. Even children are revolting. Then what we do? Some force is required, some love is required, but there is some revolt. So he's making a point that some revolt has to be there. And he gives example of French Revolution. Last time I told you, in that time, the kings of the France, the rich people, they were just thinking about themselves. They were not thinking about common man. So common man finally got up, frustrated with them, and started a revolution. So Prabhupada says there will be some. So he says there will be some revolution. Do you agree? So Prabhupada says yes. So it is not enough to come to a full stop. Surrender is to be accompanied with revolt. So he's saying that even surrender to Krishna will be with a revolt. But Srila Prabhupada says that no, it won't be like that. It will be surrender will be fully stopped when it is surrender to Krishna. So one of the Bhagavad Gita verse uh, we discussed, which which tells that surrender to Krishna will bring us peace.
अच्छा ला दे.
Haha. Which verse is that? Surrender to Krishna will bring peace. This is the fifth chapter, 29th verse. This is what Prabhupada is trying to say. Bhoktaram yagga tapasam sarva loka maheshwaram sruhut sarva bhutanam gyatva mam shantim richati. Shantim richati. One will become peaceful. If they surrender to Krishna, know him that he is the ultimate benefactor, he is the supreme Lord, and at the same time he is well-wisher of all living entities. Then there won't be any revolt. Then there will be ultimate peace. This is what Prabhupada is trying to say. Because why surrendering to Krishna is so will have no uh, revolt. There will be no revolution in surrendering to Krishna. There will be no fight in that. One will easily give in. Why? See, this verse has a word to it. Why? Can you point to me what is the exact reason why surrendering to Krishna is very blissful, it's very happy thing, it is not a very unpeaceful thing. It will actually bring peace. In this line, there is a particular word that I'm looking for, and that is what qualifies surrender to Krishna is a very happy thing.
He is the well-wisher of
Well-wisher.
all.
Yeah, he's a
Yeah, he is
well-wisher
a
of all
Surhit
living.
Sarva Bhutanam, his friend. Like for the child, surrender to his mother or her mother is the most blissful thing. It is not with the child revolts, but ultimately when it surrenders, it becomes happy. You all must have experienced that, right? Today we don't have any Prabhujis, I think, in the call. So you must have seen, children they revolt, but once they surrender, they are very happy in the laps of the mother. Why? Because mother is well wishing, is a very caring personality. So similarly, Krishna is very caring. He is a well wisher. He is sweet personality. So surrender to such a person is very happiness, right? We know that he won't exploit us. He won't torture us. See, this is the difference between material world and spiritual world. In material world, if there is someone who is the controller of everything and he is the control of the country and all that, big man, big person, surrendering to that big person, people fear. Why? Because most of the time they just exploit. Most of the time they torture. Very few leaders are those who are very well wishers. So that is the quality where revolt won't be there, and all surrender will be completely stopped. That will be the last surrender. It's like that. Okay. uh, Start with Srila Prabhupada. That is full stop.
That is full stop. No more surrender. Any other surrender you have to change by revolution.
Yeah, go.
But when you come to Krishna, then it is sufficient. You are satisfied. I will give you an example. A child is crying, and the people move him from one lap to another. Oh, he does not stop. But as soon as the baby comes to the lap of his mother, he
It stops.
yeah. Yes, full satisfaction. So this surrender, these changes will go on the different categories, but the sum total of all the surrender is surrender to Maya. Therefore, it is in the Bhagavad Gita. It is said that this surrender, neglecting Krishna, is all Maya. Either you surrender to this or to that, but final surrender is surrender to Krishna. Then you will be happy. The process of surrender is there, but surrender to Krishna keeps one quite satisfied transcendently.
Haven't you come across hostile attitudes to your teachings from Orthodox Hindus or Brahmanas in India?
We have subdued them.
Ah,
Any Orthodox Hindu may come and challenge, but we have our weapon, the Vedic literature. So no one has come. No one has come. Even Christian priest in America love me. They say those boys are American Christian, Jewish, and now they are so much after God, but we could not deliver them. They are admitting it. Their father and their parents come to me, offer their obeisances, and say, Swamiji, it is our great fortune that you have come here to teach God consciousness. So, on the contrary, I have been well received in India also. Since we inquired of India, all other sects are admitted that before me many kinds of swamis went to the western countries, but they could not convert them even in a single person to Krishna consciousness. They are admitting that as far as I concerned, I don't take any credit, but I am confident that because I am presenting the Vedic knowledge as it is without alteration, it is being affected. That is my confidence. If you have the right medicine and you administer it to the patient, you must be sure that will be cured.
how many of your 1,000 disciples do you have in India itself? How many of your community do you have in India?
In India,
Yes,
there are many Krishna conscious person, hundreds, thousands, millions. In India, there is no question. There is not a single Hindu who is not Krishna conscious.
yes, I understand.
Vaishnava, this is called the Vaishnava cult. You have been in India. As it is commonly known, there are many millions of Vaishnavas. For example, the gentleman, an Indian gentleman present in the commander of Air India Airlines. He is not my disciple, but he is a Vaishnava, Krishna conscious. Similarly, in India, there are millions of Krishna conscious persons. There are even Mohammedans who are Krishna conscious. At Gorakhpur University, there is a Mohammedan professor who is a great devotee of Lord Krishna. So it is natural. It is said in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the Krishna conscious is everywhere, in every heart, in everyone's heart. It simply has to be awakened by this process. That is all. It is there in our heart also. It is not that it is a foreign to you. In everyone's heart there is a Krishna conscious. By this process we have to awaken it. It is just like the way the sun rises. It is not that all of the sudden the sun comes from nowhere. It is there. But it rises in the morning. Similarly, this Krishna conscious is everywhere, but some way or another it is now covered by This process, it is reawakened and aroused by association.
So, what is the process Prabhupada is talking about? How to reawaken and arouse that Krishna consciousness in our heart? What are the what is that process called?
Chanting, Prabhu?
Yes. Other process? What is the process name? Chanting, yes, chanting does. It's probably saying
Shravanam
Bhakti.
Kirtanam.
bhakti yoga, yeah. So by
Yeah.
bhakti yoga, which includes chanting, which includes association of devotees, which includes, like you were saying, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Dasanam, Archanam, Vandanam, all these things. Nine processes of bhakti. Okay, so by this process, Krishna consciousness is aroused, which is there in our heart. Just like sun is there, it never sets, it never rises. Okay. Uh, Similarly, Krishna consciousness is there in everyone's heart. But by the process of bhakti yoga, it is reawakened and aroused. Continue. You came yesterday to Moscow.
You
Oh, I
came
have
yesterday to Moscow. Have
no,
you have you seen something there in Moscow?
no. I am not. I am not very much interested in sightseeing.
But in any case, just to stay in old style hotel is not interesting. Not many people to see, and you are leaving the day after tomorrow.
That is my program. Priya Mataji, can you take it from here? I have to just. I have some 5 minutes work.
You are leaving for
Priya
United States
Mataji,
or for Europe?
can you
Yeah.
lead? Yeah. Thank.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, continue, Srila Prabhupada. Yes, for Europe.
Yes, for Europe, Paris. And we have two very big ceremonies in London and San Francisco. They are making arrangements for the Rath Yatra car festival. This car festival is observed in Jagannath Puri. You have been to Jagannath Puri?
Yes, the car festival has been held from immemorial time, a very old tradition. Huge cars.
Yes, and it has now been introduced in the Western countries in London and San Francisco, and gradually, maybe we will introduce it in other countries also.
Sorry. In London, there are many. There is a large Indian community.
Oh, sorry, 1 minute. No, no. This is organized by the Englishmen and Americans. The Indian communities in London and San Francisco are trying to become, you know, the word Sahib.
Ha ha ha. Ah,
Westernized.
westernized. They both laugh. A very great social anthropologist at the university has written something very interesting. He says there is no process. The process of westernization and the Brahman among the Brahmanas, may, mainly the upper class, and the process called Sanskritization, which is the process of adopting Brahmana rituals, etc., by so-called lower classes, even untouchables, is very interesting process in India. It is a very interesting process in India just now, but India's position, unfortunately, is problematic.
The difficulty is that India is nowhere. They are trying to imitate Western life, but from a materialistic or technical point of view, they are 100 years back.
Yes, that is right. But what to do for India?
There is one thing I'm experiencing. If India's spiritual asset is distributed, that will increase India's honor. Because everywhere I go, people still adore Indian culture. If this treasure house of India's spiritual knowledge is properly distributed, At least people outside of India will understand that they are getting something from India.
Of course, you're right. The Indian cultural heritage to be made known everywhere, but at the same time, uh, in that in what way would this benefit the Indian masses themselves? They are sitting in India and they have nothing to gain from spreading of the Indian cultural heritage all over the world. Indian villages have to have fertilizers, tractors, etc.
Yes, we do not object to that.
Yes, I don't think you can object. But at the same time, something has to be done in India. One may call it westernization, but it is the introduction to the industrial technology revolution is needed in all fields of Indian life, agriculture, industry, etc.
Arjuna, before understanding the Bhagavad Gita, was a fighter. And after understanding the Bhagavad Gita, he remained a fighter. So we don't want to change the position. For example, you are a respectable professor, a teacher. We don't say that you must change your position. We have come to convince you about our philosophy. That is all. Arjuna was refusing to fight. Krishna, I don't want to kill my relatives. I don't want this kingdom. But he was taught the Bhagavad Gita, and at the end, when Krishna inquired, what is your decision now? He said, Karishe Vachanam Tava. Yes, I shall act as you say. Bhagavad Gita 18.72. That means that his consciousness changed. He was a fighter and he remained a fighter, but he changed his consciousness. We want that. We don't want to disturb the present condition of society. We are not against technology, no, but we try to make one understand this Krishna consciousness. That is our program.
Of course, at the same time, the final goal of any consciousness is to change the society. There are many things to be changed through consciousness.
No, no, no.
No, no, Mataji,
Oh,
To make it a
make it
better
a
system.
sorry.
to make it a better society.
To,
Prabhupada.
conscious to change the society to make it a better society.
Prabhupada.
Sorry.
That is automatic.
I'm not really so happy that the ultimate goal is to disturb society because in modern society there are many things to be changed through consciousness.
That preliminary change is to follow rules and regulations of austerity. For example, don't take intoxicants.
No indulging in intoxicants, simplicity, etc.
So, if one takes to this process, then the Mataji,
Then the others will come automatically.
one's whole life will change because these four things illicit sex, intoxicants, meat eating, and gambling are very great impediments to social improvement.
That will automatically make life simpler because a person who does not indulge in illicit sex, intoxicants,
Intoxicants.
and such other things has to lead a comparatively simple life.
The other day, I was speaking in Bombay with a respectable gentleman. I was telling him that Krishna says, Mam hi partha vyapashrit,
Yeah.
vyapashritya yepi syu papa yonaha yona yonayaha striyo vaishyas tata shudras tepi yanti paramgatim. Even those who are low born, Papa Yonaha, Stri, Vaishyas, and Shudras are also included by accepting me. By accepting my shelter, they are also elevated to the transcendental position. Now, why have the higher classes of Hindu society neglected this injection of Bhagavad Gita? Suppose one is Papa Yonaha, low born. Krishna says that he can be elevated to the transcendental position if he accepts me. Why wasn't this message propagated by the higher class of people so that the so called low born could be elevated? Why did they reject them? The result was that instead of accepting the Mohammedans, the Indians rejected them and now they are partitioned off. They have become eternal enemies of India. So, for the first time, we are trying to elevate persons to the higher position of Krishna consciousness, even if one is low born, because the soul is pure. In the Vedas, it is said that the soul is untouched by any material contamination. It is simply temporarily covered. This covering should be removed. Then one becomes pure. That is the mission of human life, to uncover ourselves from this material environment, come to spiritual understanding, and surrender to Krishna. Then life is perfect. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So, so Prabhupada was saying that. Did someone join? Okay. So Prabhupada was saying here in this discussion that when we surrender to Krishna, that is the full stop. After that, we don't have to surrender to anybody. And surrendering to Krishna will not be with revolt. It won't be with anger. It won't be with resent. It won't be frustrating. Why? Because Krishna is well-wisher of everyone. He's the friend of everyone. Just like the baby may be passed to so many people, but once the baby comes in the lap of his or her mother, then the baby is completely happy. It's completely satisfied. So we'll be satisfied. And then he says that India needs modernization, technological advancement, etc. Then Prabhupada says, we don't object that can happen. We want people to have their consciousness transformed so that they become Krishna consciousness and they become good citizens also. Both things will be achieved. So this is what Professor Kotosky doesn't understand, how it will be achieved. So then Prabhupada explains that um, we follow four regulative principles: no meat eating, no intoxication, no illicit sex, no gambling, by which our life will become simpler. And then Kotosky, he understands that thing. And then later, so Prabhupada is saying we are trying to spread this knowledge all over the world. Hmm? So Prokotowski says, "Oh, but what will be the uh, benefit for Indian people?" So Prabhupada said that is not a concern. See, the way more materialistic person thinks is that if he has to do something, then he has to get also. What is in it for me? What will I gain out of it? So he's asking. Prabhupada says, no, there is no such gain, but spreading this knowledge itself is the duty of those who have taken birth in Bharatavarsha. So that's why we have to spread this knowledge all over the world. And in Prabhupada talks about that we are having this Jagannath Rath Yatra in Los Angeles, San Francisco, New York, London, everywhere. And and then in this last section, Prabhupada is pointing out that the the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita is actually to elevate even low born people, but higher class people, they have not done that. So we are doing that. So what is the mission of human life? We are spreading that. It is to uncover from material environment, come to spiritual understanding, surrender to Krishna, and then life is perfect. Okay. So before we move to this section, tiny world of modern science, any question or comment? Any question or comment? No questions? Okay, sure. We'll continue. This is the tiny world of modern science. It is a morning walk in April of 1973 at Venice Beach, Los Angeles. Srila Prabhupada discusses modern science and its high priests. They claim to have millions of dollars worth of knowledge. But if you ask them a simple question, if you ask them a question, they simply give you a post-it check. Why we should accept it? They cannot even produce a spear of grass from their biological or chemical experiments. And nonetheless, they are claiming that the creation is produced by some chemical or biological method. Why does no one question all this nonsense?
I can
So,
start, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. I'll start, Shri
Sure.
Prabhat. Yeah, Shri
um,
Prabhat.
yeah, start.
The whole, whole world of science and technology is running on the false idea that life is born from matter. We cannot allow the new nonsensical theory to go unchallenged. Life does not come from matter. Matter is the generated from life. It is not the theory. It is a fact. Science is based on an incorrect theory. Therefore, all the calculations are wrong. The and people are suffering because of this. When all these mistaken modern scientific theories are corrected, people will become happy, and so we must challenge the scientists and defeat them. Otherwise, they will mislead the entire society. Matter changes in six phases: birth, growth, maintenance, production of products, dwindling, and death. But the life within matter and the spirit soul is eternal. It goes through no such changes. Life appears to be developing and decaying, but actually it is simply passing through each of these six phases until the material body can no longer be maintained. Then the old body dies and the soul enters a new body. When our clothing is old and worn, we change it. Similarly, one day our body became old and useless, and then we pass on to the new body. Hare Krishna.
Continue,
Okay.
continue.
Yeah, sorry. The Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita 2.13, Dehino asmin yatha dehe kaumaram yo vanam jara, tatha dehantara praptir. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body by boyhood to youth to old age, and soul similarly passes into the another body at death. And the little later, 2.18, anvanta imi deha यस्य लोकतः शरीर sharir. This is it means that only the material body is indestructible and eternal entity is subject to destruction. This material body is perishable, but the life within the body is nitya, eternal. According to the Vedas, the measurement of the soul within the body is 1/10 part of the tip of the hair. This is very small. In fact, it is atomic. Yeah, yet because of that atomic spiritual energy, my body is working. So is it so difficult to understand? Suppose a man thinks himself by stout and strong. This is why is he stout and strong? Only because within his body there is a small spiritual spark. But as soon as the spiritual spark is gone, the body dies, and his strength and the vigor becomes void. If scientists say that matter is the cause and origin of life, then let them bring this one dead man back to the life by injecting him with chemical, but this they can't do.
So Prabhupada is saying we cannot get a dead back man by injecting some chemicals. This is a known fact. All the chemicals are there in the body, and suddenly the body stops working. Why? Because the soul has moved on. Daiva Netrena, under the direction of superior energy. Dr. Singh. So this Dr. Singh is Sarup Damodar Goswami Maharaj. Okay, he was a Prabhupada disciple. He is no more. He left his body maybe 10 years back. So he was a scientist, and he's having this conversation with Srila Prabhupada. And he's going to ask questions from the modern science perspective. Okay. So somebody read Dr. Singh. Yeah, tell me.
Actually, today is His Holiness Satswarup Bhakti Swarup Damodar Swami Maharaj's appearance day.
Really?
Yes,
So we are all blessed to read, something he has left us long back. So Jay, so somebody read Dr. Singh's, I mean Maharaja's statements here. Who is going to read?
Should I continue, Prabhu?
Okay, sure. Yeah.
Since scientists cannot see the spiritual soul, they say its existence is very doubtful.
How can they see it? It is too small to see. Where is such seeing power?
Still, they want to sense it by some means.
If you inject just one grain of deadly poison into someone, he immediately dies. No one can see the poison or how it acts, but the poison is acting nevertheless. In the same way, the Vedas say that because the minute
Minute.
particle, sorry, what is Prabhu?
Minute.
Minute particle called the soul is within the body, the whole body is working nicely. If I pinch myself, I immediately feel it because I am conscious all over my skin. But as soon as the soul is absent, there is a case when my body dies. You can take this same skin and cut it and chop it, but no one will protest. This Why is this
That is the
simple thing
soul.
Wait.
why
Sorry.
is this simple thing so hard to understand? Is this not detect spirit?
Detecting spirit. Yeah.
Detecting spirit?
So here Prabhupada gives a very nice example. He says one grain of deadly poison,
Yeah.
just one grain, or say one drop, or even drop of a drop, half of that drop is enough to kill a person. Do you know the name of the poison?
Cyanide, right?
Yeah, potassium cyanide. So once they tried to test it, that how it tastes, but the person couldn't say that how it tastes. It is such a powerful poison. A small touch and it's enough for the body to die. And science has not explained much how this happens, but it's very interesting. So that's how Prabhupada is saying that such a small thing, a drop of half of the drop, or half of it, or half of it, a pinch of it, is enough for the body to die. And the soul is also like that. And we cannot figure the deadly poison thing, then how to figure out this thing, the soul. Another argument is soul is spiritual in nature, and whatever devices, objects we have in this world is material in nature, matter. It's made of matter. So to see something spiritual, we cannot use matter. Understand? Because soul is at a very highly subtle form, just like water is subtle than say wood or ice. If we boil it, it becomes water. That is subtle. Okay, you can't hold it. If you put in your hand, you can keep some ice block, but once it turns into water, can you keep the water in your hand? No. Now if you keep boiling the water, it will become gas, steam. Now can you hold it? No, impossible. Water also, some drops you could hold it, but now when it became more subtler, you can't even hold it, you can't even see it. It just evaporates. And soul is even subtler than that, and it is not even matter, it is antimatter. It is spiritual in nature. So therefore, whatever devices we have is matter, and we cannot really measure the soul. So one of the doctors, they tried to measure a soul, and when a person died, before dying he measured the weight, and after dying he measured the weight, and he found that there is a difference of 8 grams. So he said probably the soul is 8 grams worth weight, but actually the soul is spiritual in nature, so it cannot be any material unit that we can apply to it. Okay, so that's why we cannot see the soul.
But Prabhu, when people die, right, that body becomes heavier rather. Soul keeps it lighter. I don't know how.
Whatever it is, I don't know.
Yeah.
It was a long time back they tried,
Yeah.
they did this experiment.
So
But the
it
point is
suddenly
that
becomes heavy. Yeah.
the soul cannot be measured through any material objects, material apparatus, material measuring unit, because it is not at all matter, so it will never be measured. Okay, that is the soul. But what about God?
First of all, let us understand the soul. The soul is a small God. If we understand the sample, then you can understand the whole. Now, here is matter. Srila Prabhupada points at the dead tree with his cane. Formerly, leaves and twigs are growing from this tree. Why are they not growing now? Can a scientist answer this question?
Wait. Let's talk about this small line that Prabhupada said. The soul is small God. Is this true statement or false statement?
Yeah, we are part and parcel of the Lord, right?
We are small God, which,
No, this is not true. This is Mayavadi philosophy.
okay,
Qualitatively, we are one with the Lord. That's why I think Prabhupada has told that.
okay,
Quantitatively, we are not.
okay, okay, okay. So the thing is, the statement is true actually. What is it? The soul is small God. Small. So it has some strength, some power, but everything is in small quantities. So it's kind of God because God is controlling everything, right? So with small power, small strength, we also control few things. The soul is controlling the body. Therefore, it is the Ishvara within the body. But is the soul controlling anyone else's body? No. But is the super soul controlling all the bodies? Yes. So therefore, the soul is not the super soul, but definitely he is small Ishvara. Now do you get? Now do you understand?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. So other things that you said is also true. Qualitatively one. Qualitatively one. So that's why we can say we are godly, but not God. Okay. Just like one can say son is not father, but he resembles father, isn't it? By saying, by qualities, but he's not father. Hmm? Now, does the Vedas say that we are small God? You talked about Mayavadis. Where do they get this information? We are small God. Or how do they come to this conclusion? We are God. What is the statement in the Veda that they really confuse with? There are two statements that I know. Aham Brahmasmi and Tat Tvam Asi. Aham Brahmas means I am Brahman. Basically, I am spirit. But the real meaning is not I am spirit, but not supreme spirit. This is what they don't understand. So therefore they say I am God. Second is Tattvamasi. Tattvamasi means You are that. It simply means you are that. That which cannot be broken, that which cannot be burned, that which cannot be, that is separate from matter. So this also means you are not matter, but spirit. And this also they confuse with your supreme spirit. Okay, they cannot make the difference between spirit and supreme spirit. So this is their mistake. This is their fallacy. Mayavadis, they don't distinguish
Prabhu, they say
between
like Brahman and Paramatma. They don't say Bhagwan. They say there is a Paramatma and
spirit and supreme spirit. But ultimately they say that if you do some yoga and all that, if you follow this yogic principle, you will also become the supreme spirit. Okay. So then they say, if you do yoga, whatever yoga, mostly dhyan yoga only they'll say. Even in dhyan yoga, they'll say meditation and all. Do yoga, then you can also become supreme spirit. Like that. So this is their fallacy. But there is something called as impersonalism, which is there in the Vedas. Impersonalism means supreme has a impersonal form. Okay, they have this knowledge that supreme has this impersonal form, and we can merge in it. Okay, so this much knowledge is impersonalism. But when it goes into these conclusions and these statements that you can also, when you merge, then you become the supreme, then it is called Mayavadi. Okay, so there is in the Vedas there is impersonalism, because the Krishna has an impersonal form also. Actually, it doesn't have a form, but it has impersonal. Okay, let's call it form only. It has impersonal form. Okay, and one can merge in it. Okay, so this is there in the Vedas. This happens. But
Is
when
it
you merge in it,
Brahman? Prabhuji, this is Brahman realization?
yeah, this is Brahman realization. And in that Brahman realization, when they understand that there is supreme super soul Paramatma, then it is Paramatma realization. And when they understand that there is Bhagavan, then it is Bhagavan realization. So basically at the impersonalist state, these Mayavadis, they get confused. They say, oh, we can merge in it, then we become one. When we become one, then I am the supreme. But even when we merge, we remain the same. Our individuality is intact. That is the real understanding. And then from impersonalism, the impersonalists, they advance to super soul. So yeah, so we started from this. The soul is small god and all. Now, where in Bhagavad Gita this thing is there? Where in Bhagavad Gita? We will just quickly go and check. It's in the 15th chapter. The very last verses of that, Krishna talks about it. 16, 17, 18, 19. 4 verses. What he says? There are two classes of beings: fallible, infallible. In the material world, every living entity is fallible. In the spiritual world, every living entity is infallible. Besides these two, there is the greatest living personality, the super soul, the imperishable Lord himself, who has entered the three worlds and is maintaining them. Now, interestingly, Krishna says, he says there are two types of living entities. One, fallible, those who fall down. This is spelling. Fallible. Oh, fallible. And second is infallible. And this fallible, where they are found? In the material world. And this infallible, where they are found? Spiritual world. Now, if there are two types of living entities, Krishna says there is a third kind also. Who is above fallible and infallible. Right? This is what he's saying, right? Besides these two, there is greatest living entity. Means he is not even categorized as fallible, infallible. Oh, who is that? Supreme Soul. And then he says, because I am transcendental beyond both the fallible and infallible, because I am the greatest, I am celebrated both in this world as that supreme person. It's a very interesting verse. Come on. Yasmat sharam aditoham aksharapi chottama atosmi loke vedecha prastha purushottama. Therefore, I am that. I am that third kind. Supreme, beyond fallible, infallible, celebrated in the Vedas. And therefore Krishna says, because I am neither fallible, neither infallible. I am beyond this. Okay. So then what to do? If we come to know we have this person who is neither fallible, not infallible, then what to do? Krishna says, whoever knows this, Yoma meva masamodo janati purushottam sa sarvavid bharjite mam sarva bhavena bharata. Whoever knows this, what they should do? Without doubt, they should bhajati mam. They should do render devotional service to mam, means Krishna. Sarva bhavena bharata. Bhava, all the bhava that is there within one's heart, give that to me. Interesting, right? So we talked about small God. Now we're talking about the big God, the supreme one. And then there is a third kind that is infallible, those living entities who don't fall. Okay. So yeah. So it's a very small statement, but it has very powerful meaning. We just diverged a little bit because it's a very interesting statement. Okay. We have some time, we can continue. Karandar Das. Continue. Any question or comment?
We
All
should
right.
continue. It's 8:30.
Just wait, wait.
No, still 2 minutes.
Any question or comment? Does anyone has question? No? Okay. If no, then just continue.
And knowledge means
No. They
no,
would
no.
say
They would say the chemical composition has changed.
All right. Continue. Who is reading Srila Prabhupada's statement? Are you on mute? Okay, I don't think that Mataji is reading, so let me read. All right. Then, if they are so advanced in knowledge of chemistry, they must supply the proper chemicals to make branches and leaves grow again.
Knowledge means that one must be able to demonstrate his theory. They should be able to show in their laboratories that life is caused by combination of chemicals.
Yes, the scientific method means first observation, then hypothesis, and then demonstration. But these scientists cannot demonstrate their hypothesis. They simply observe and then speak nonsense. Scientists say that chemicals are the cause of life, but all the chemicals that they are there when the tree was living are still present, and life energy is also there. There are thousands of microbes in the tree, and they are all living entities. No one can claim that life energy is lacking in the body of this tree.
But what about the life energy of the tree itself?
Yes, that is the difference. The living force is individual, and the particular individual living entity, which was the tree, has left. This must be the case, since all the chemicals that are necessary to support life are still there, yet the tree is dead. Here is another example. Suppose I am living in an apartment and then I leave, but many other living entities remain there, ants, spiders, and so forth. It is not true that simply because I left the apartment, it no longer accommodate life. Other living entities are still there, still living there. It is simply that I, an individual living entity, has left. The chemicals in the tree are like the apartment. They are they are simply the environment for the living individual living force, the soul, to act through. Thus, the scientist will never be able to produce life in a chemical laboratory. The so called scientists say that life begins from chemicals. But the real question is, where have chemicals come from? The chemicals come from life, and this means life has mystic power. For example, an orange tree contains many oranges, and each orange contains chemicals, citric acid and other. So, where have these chemicals come from? Obviously, they've come from life within the tree. The scientists are missing the origin of the chemicals. They have started their investigation from the chemicals, but they cannot identify the origin of chemicals. Chemicals come from the supreme life, God. Just as the living body of a man produces many chemicals, the supreme life, the supreme Lord, is producing all the chemicals found in the atmosphere, in the water, in humans, in animals, and in the tree. And that is called mystic power. Unless the mystic power of the supreme Lord is accepted, there is no solution to the problem of origin of life. So we are uh,
A scientist
no, wait.
should.
We are 8:30. We are at 8:30 now. So let's open up for some questions or comments. Any question or comment? Any question or comment?
Prabhuji, I have one question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Prabhuji, you said that Krishna will be happy if we surrender to him, like the child surrenders to the mother, right?
Yeah.
But then why Maya Shakti troubles the devotees? If the devotee has to surrender to Krishna, then Maya Shakti should not trouble the devotees also, right? It should leave the devotees, right? But sometimes devotees are struggling because of Maya Shakti. Then how they can surrender?
Okay. So I'll give you an example which we experience in our life. Most of us are married and we have small children. Let's say, the son is not listening to the father. Okay. And the mother is trying to explain to the son, you should listen to the father, you should listen to the father. And they go back and forth like this. And, uh, you know, uh, finally the son says, okay, I will listen. And then what does the mother do?
The mother stops telling
Mother
the
stops telling, that's fine. But the mother will also check. whether that son is really saying from his heart that he will surrender, or he will, not fight with the father.
Yeah, but mother is
Yeah,
lovingly doing it,
mother is
right? But
lovingly doing that. So yeah, that's what Maya is also doing.
yeah, but sometimes my Shakti is
So Maya is so see the ways, uh, uh, the ways that she's checking. These are all tests. There are two kinds of things that she does. One is this test for devotees. Okay, devotees want to surrender to Krishna, so Maya will test, and Krishna will be there in picture. Okay, he's not going to run away here and there. So when Maya test, Krishna will also help. Okay, and depending on the sincerity of the devotee will either pass or fail. Now the second type of things that Maya does, she doesn't do that with the devotee. She does it with the non-devotees. What she does? Adhyatmika klesha, adi bhautika klesha, adi daivika klesha. It's very, very severe to the non-devotees. Because first of all, they are not ready to surrender. Hmm. Second thing is they are revolting. So to keep them under this Durga, the Durga Mata Maya Devi troubles them, keeps them under this jail. But for a devotee, it is a test that she puts in their lives. So so a lot of purification has to happen before we actually, surrender to Krishna. Our present surrender is minute surrender, small surrenders. um, so in this regard, I'm going to tell you a story that there was in the times of Narottam Das Thakur, when Narottam Das Thakur was here, maybe 300, 400 years ago, maybe 300 years ago, huh? So he was a great Vaishnav. He is the Acharya within our line, pure devotee. And in the area that he lived in Bengal, some place, there was this dacoit, a very cruel person. And this cruel person would kill people and torture people and, rob them and all that. But once what happened is he got infected by a ghost, a Brahman ghost, a ghost which was previously a Brahman, which is a very severe ghost. So that was troubling him, making him crazy, mad. He was screaming and crying in night, So his parents, they called many tantrics and did lot of things, but nothing was working. Then someone told them that if he gets the dust of a Vaishnav, if he gets the blessing of a Vaishnav, then this Brahman ghost will go away. So they started looking for a Vaishnav and they came to know about Narottam Das Thakur. So somehow they brought him to Narottam Das Thakur, or Narottam Das Thakur came to that, was invited to that place. And the moment the ghost saw Narottam Das Thakur, he just went away. He was so, Narottam Das Thakur was so powerful. Just by his presence, the ghost was delivered and he got next new body and he went away. So this person who was cruel, his name was Chand Rai. He became, very sober, that, his troubles were ending. So he took surrendered to Narottam Das Thakur, became his disciple, and then he was chanting Hare Krishna. He was serving Narottam Das Thakur, and whatever dacoit and, robbery he was doing in his previous life, he stopped all that and he became a devotee Vaishnava. Then once what happened is, there was a nearby king or something, someone, big landlord or someone. He came to know that Chandrai is now no more doing dacoit and all that. So previously Chandrai had troubled him. So he captured Chandrai and put him into a jail. Actually put him into a dungeon that is deep into the ground, some few feet into the ground. Such a small hole, and he just put them in. And Chandrai didn't protest. He was there inside and he was just chanting Hare Krishna. He said, I have anyway troubled so many people. Now I will accept this, troubling thing. But his parents tried to free him. So at that time, na, there was a tantric who could who could who could magically appear and could rescue Chandrai. So his father told this tantric, go and get my son. So this tantric, through his tantric power, he appeared in the dungeon, in that dark hole in the ground where Chandrai was there. And he told Chandrai, I can get you out of this dungeon. You have to chant this particular mantra, tantric mantra. And if you chant this, will be you can escape from here. So at that point, Chandrai said, I'm not going to chant that mantra. I got my mantra from my guru and I will remain loyal to it. And then Tantric was like, what to do now? He's not listening. So he went away. And Chandrai inside, he was chanting, chanting, chanting. And seeing that, this landlord or whatever the king, he came to know that now that Chandra is no more a robber, he's become saintly. So he left him. He released him. So the point is, Chandra was so sincere that particular test that came to in his life because of his previous life karma, the terrible karma he had done, na? So he was still sincere and loyal to his guru and to bhakti yoga, and that test made him a pure devotee. So whatever test come in our life, right, we have to be sincere and we have to show Krishna that yes, I want him, I want to go back to him. Hmm? And um see, in Vrindavan also so many demons come, right? What do the gopas and the gopis do? They simply call Krishna, they run towards Krishna, and Krishna saves. So we have also to follow in the same footsteps, right? So
Yes, Prabhuji.
yeah, so the thing is, uh difficulties will come, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur come when difficulties come. Um, they are my best friends because they make me remember Krishna. Even Kunti Maharani also says that difficulties. I want more difficulties. She says like that. uh, because whenever difficulty came, she went to Krishna and she became happy. So she said, I only want difficulties so that I keep going back to Krishna. So yeah, we should see it as a test and we should surrender to Krishna. Sometimes this test can be really, really severe also. I agree on that. But it is good for us. It is good for us. We won't be tested, like, see, we'll be tested to the level of our sincerity, our dedication and all. Not to the level of, like, the pure devotees like Draupadi and all that. We want Pandavas and Prahlad Maharaj. This is not how we will be tested. But yeah, there will be some devotees who really are really, really great devotees and they have given their lives also. So in difficulties, what we should do, that is more important. In difficulties, we should continue our Krishna consciousness and we should pray to Krishna and we should seek guidance from uh, wise devotees, how to pass through these difficulties, and they will tell us how to pass through. Sometimes we just have to pass through. There may not be any solution, we just have to pass through. Just like fever, 3 days it will be there. The doctor has given us medicine and the first day we take, the fever reduces little bit. Still we are thinking, array, fever, why it didn't went away? But we have to continue taking the medicine. Then on the third day we'll suddenly feel nice. We'll sweat and we'll feel nice. Isn't that what happens?
Yes,
Yes.
Prabhuji.
Yeah. So same way, same way, we continue doing our Krishna consciousness. We take shelter of the devotees. We listen to them. Sometimes they may not also have any solution. That also can happen. Sometimes the problem such as that nobody has solution. We just have to go through it. Just like Draupadi, She had 5 devotees as her husband. Nothing worked. A great Mahatma Bhagavad devotee was there in front. Bhishma, he also lifted his hand. Vidura tried to help, but he couldn't do anything. Finally, she surrendered to Krishna. So sometimes these situations can come in our life, and sometimes some solution may work out also. Like we may get some medicine and we may get cured and all. But in all the cases, we have to just continue. Hmm?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji,
Yeah.
related to the same question, so we have to understand, like, is it a test of Maya or test by Maya, or is it because of the previous karmas or something like that? So, or what is the difference, Prabhuji? How can we understand?
Actually, the way the pure devotees have looked at the difficulties in their life is they always said this is because in the past I did something. And the pure devotees actually didn't do, but they always attributed it to that. In the past I must have done something. Like Parikshit Maharaj, he got cursed. So he thought, because I did something wrong to the sadhu by putting a dead snake around his neck, that is the reason I am cursed and I am going to die. But in reality, what happened is he would have never done that. But Krishna induced him to do that. So in case of pure devotees, right, Krishna induces them. He confuses Arjuna at the start of Bhagavad Gita. And then after hearing the whole Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna says what? He doesn't say thank you for this knowledge. He says, oh, I remembered all this knowledge. So basically makes them forget. So that's what he does with pure devotees. But pure devotees, they still attribute it to their past life, past karmas, which in reality is not there. So the answer is, in our case, it will always be the past karmas. We just don't know in what life we did what. In the present life, in the previous life, in the previous to previous life, we just have no idea. But we have done something. That's why the karma is coming. And now, interesting part: how much karma will come? Now, Krishna says that in Brahma Samhita, and we'll open that, and that will be our last point of discussion. In Brahma Samhita, Krishna will tell what will be the degree of that past life karma that he is going to apply on us. There it is. Do you see? Yeah, Brahma Samhita. Yes, in the 54th verse, he says, Karmani nirdahati kintu sa bhakti bhajam govindam adipurusham tamaham bhajami. So this is Brahma who is saying, I adore the primeval Lord Govinda who burns up their roots, all fruitive activities of those who are endowed with devotion and impartially ordains for each the due enjoyment of fruits of one activity. Of all those who walk in the path of work in accordance with the chain of their previously performed work, no less in the case of the tiny insect that bears the name Indragopa than in that of Indra, the king of the Devas. So our previous karmas, they will be affecting us. But how? So the word is nirdhati. So basically it will be destroyed. Yeah. So this is purport is small, but let me read it. This purport is by Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj, Goswami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada. God impartially induces the fallen souls to act in such a way that is consequent on the deeds of their previous births and to enjoy the fruition of their labors. But out of his great mercy to his devotee, he purges out by the fire of ordeal the roots of all karma, which is nations and evil desires. Karma, though without beginning, is still perishable. The karma of those who work with the hope of enjoying the fruits of their labors become everlasting and endless and is never destroyed. The function of sannyas is also a sort of karma befitting an ashram and is not pleasant to Krishna which, when it aims to liberation, desire for emancipation. They also receive fruition of their karma. And even if it be disinterested, the karma ends in atma mamata, that is self pleasure. But those who are pure devotees always serve Krishna by gratifying his senses, forsaking all attempts of karma and dhyana, and being free from all desires save that of serving Krishna. Krishna has fully destroyed the karma, its desires and nations of those devotees. It's a great wonder that Krishna, being impartial, is fully partial to his devotees. So basically, he will use our past karma to purify us more and more and more and more. It will be like a 6-stage filtration. All of us have this filtration filter, right? Water filter at home. Some are 3-stage, some are 5-stage, some are 6-stage, right? So our previous karmas are used to filter out and make us more pure and pure and pure. And he won't apply all the bad karmas that we have, like terrible karmas. He won't apply it fully. Small of it he will apply. So let me tell you a story. Once a Prabhupada disciple was cutting vegetables in the DT room. Okay, in the DT kitchen room, he was cutting vegetables, and his finger got cut. So this question came to him, the same question: is Krishna testing me, or what is happening, or am I doing service to him and he is cutting my finger? How is this possible? So Prabhupada was there at that time. So he immediately went to Prabhupada and he said, Prabhupada, my finger got cut while cutting sabji, which I was going to offer it to Krishna. If I'm going to offer it to Krishna, why is Krishna giving me this? Then Prabhupada said, that knife should have been on your neck. Krishna placed it on your finger. Here again, that knife, Krishna would have was by your bad karma, should have been on your neck, but Krishna placed it on your finger. So this is what it means, nirdahati kintu bhakti bhaja, meaning our karmas will be reduced, but they will be given in such a way that we will purify more and we will serve Krishna more. Our desire to serve Krishna will increase by that test. So therefore the karmas will come, the intensity will be small, and the result should be that our devotion for Krishna should increase. Does this help?
Yes, Prabhu. Instead of snake bite, ant bite may happen like that.
Yeah, true. That is also there. So, okay. So let's stop today's meeting. We'll meet next week.